we look at the need to comply with contract timeframes and inspection contingency, is very important from the buyer's perspective. Is to, one, have a home inspection contingency in the contract itself, but also to make sure that the timeframes are appropriate when uh, put them in that contract. Okay, so when we look at real estate transactions, you know, contract timeframes dictate what happens during the due diligence phase and the pre-closing phase of the contract, right? So um, when we look at the inspection contingency, one, and like I said, we have to have an inspection contingency in the contract itself. Means we have to actually say that we want to inspect the property during a certain period of time, and that we will determine at that point in time if there are any issues that we need to address with the seller, and or we're going to either we can back out if it's an as-is contract, meaning you're buying the property as is, that we can cancel the contract timely, okay, before before the closing. So the buyer during the inspection period, meaning if you're going to have an inspection contingency, you'll say, I would like to inspect the property, from day one to maybe, give me 15 days or 20 days from the start of where we signed the contract. The effective date of the contract is the date where it normally starts. And then you have that inspection period that will run, and that will end. Let's say you have 15 days. Well, within 15 days, you have to get that inspection, okay? From the effective date to the date of, the end date of the inspection period, you have a 15-day window. Within that 15-day window, you have to order the inspection, have the home inspector there. You have to make sure that the property has utilities on, and that there is access that is provided by the seller, so that you can actually you and the inspector can attend along with your agent the inspection. Okay. Now, the inspection is normally a non-invasive inspection, meaning the walls are not taken down, holes are not put in walls, and so forth. If in fact there are any damages that are done by the home inspector during that inspection period, you as a buyer normally have to assume the responsibility to repair that back to the condition it was prior to the inspection. Okay, but that inspection period is the time period for which you have to inspect the property. Normally, within a couple of days, you have to, review once the inspection report is provided to you. And again, when you're doing the inspection must occur between that in that inspection period, but you must also receive the results of the report during that inspection period, so that you can then notify the seller of the inspection results and what your decision is going forward. Okay. The inspection contingency provides you as the buyer the ability to negotiate the repairs based on that inspection report, any modification to the contract terms, meaning you might want to ask for additional time to, let's say the repairs need to be done. The seller decides that they're going to agree to do the repairs. Well, you need to extend the contract normally to have that done, but then you also have to be able to re-inspect. Okay, so keep that in mind. If in fact it's the issues are so major, a cancellation based on the inspection findings might be in order. Okay. Contract timeframes are not arbitrary. Okay, they're legally binding, and if you miss those deadlines, you don't have the opportunity to renegotiate the contract, or even if the contract provides for the seller to have repairs done, um, you will miss out on having the seller, pay for the repairs that they've agreed to under the initial contract terms. So failure to comply with these legal timeframes have severe consequences, and it potentially jeopardizes the validity of contract or leads to a loss of certain rights. Timely adherence to that contract also, and those timeframes, ensures a smooth transaction. Okay, delays create further uncertainty, and and then basically, miscommunication and so forth. When we have an inspection period, once a contract is ratified, like I indicated, you have the effective date of the contract where both parties have signed. That inspection period can begin. During the time, the buyer engages a qualified home inspector to assess the property thoroughly. You normally attend the inspection, maybe your agent will attend, you ask questions, you're able to get a report from the inspector. Be sure that that report is received prior to the inspection period expiring. And timely communication of the results of that inspection to the seller is very important. Normally you have 3 days or a period of time to provide written notification to the seller. Now, the inspection report is a private communication. The buyer has to release certain parts of that inspection report. If they, want to go forward, they normally do notify the seller, provide portions of the report. They don't necessarily have to provide a full report to the seller, but keep in mind delivering the results within the stipulated time frame. Within that, stipulated time frame within the contract is very important. When you provide timely communication of those inspection results, you are showing the seller, that you are committed to the transaction and you're committed to the process and the agreed upon timeframes. You're also going to allow for, giving the seller its time to make repairs or modifications within the contract. Okay, so normally, if issues are found, the seller is given an opportunity to cure them or to make repairs, and the repairs under the under the contract, they have a certain time frame and a certain monetary amount for which they have to actually do what they have agreed to do. If it's an as-is contract, the seller is not going to repair anything, and they agree normally that you as a buyer can cancel the contract based on those home inspection results. Under a non-as-is contract, meaning you're not taking it as is, taking the property as is that normally the seller has agreed to pay a certain amount towards certain types of repairs. Okay, their inspection report is what discloses to them what they have to actually repair. Okay, so it's very important to provide them with that information so they are, the specific information provided so that they can actually make the adequate adjustments and repairs to the home. Okay. Be sure to take a proactive approach during these home inspections. Schedule them properly. Don't delay. You might even, while you're in the offer process, schedule an inspection, and allow sufficient time for the home inspector to, inspect, provide a report. They don't provide it right away. It might be 48 to 72 hours. And then, make sure that you and your agent, establish an open communication and provide necessary information to the seller in writing, informing them promptly about the inspection results, so that they can do their part to make appropriate repairs, and or agree to extending the contract or canceling the contract.